Good morning, Laura.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay? Or do I need headphones?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Let me know if you can hear me okay or if I need headphones if you don't mind. Somebody unmute themselves and tell me. Bonnie, can you hear me
I can
okay
I
hear
or
can
do
you.
I need headphones? You can?
hear you.
Okay, thank you.
I can.
I'm on a different computer today, so I'm hoping that you guys can hear me just fine. Um, all right. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. It was a very busy one, um, but it was a wonderful weekend. I've got a nutso job today, super busy day today. So tell me how your weekends were. Catch me up while we're waiting on a couple people to jump on. Tell me what all happened. Well, don't y'all all talk at once, okay? Shh, you're talking over each other. Just kidding. Someone unmute themselves and tell me what a great
I
weekend.
had a good weekend. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I had a good weekend, but
Bonnie?
it was around my daughter. She's actually moving into a college dorm.
Oh,
So
nice.
that
Oh,
so that was
honey,
exciting.
my mama heart is reaching out for you because I remember what that felt like dropping my oldest off at college, and I never hugged him
Mhm.
so tight in my whole life. And I'm
Right.
tearing up thinking about you right now because I was so
Oh.
emotional for 2 weeks. Like,
Hmm.
just, it's so hard as a mom, dropping them off at school, wondering, did I
Hmm.
give them enough to be safe, to make great decisions? Like, and then how much space do I give them to let them fly from the nest? So, um,
Exactly.
I 100% understand exactly how you feel, and I will be sending good vibes and prayers your way because I know this is so hard. It's so hard to let your baby go. But just
It
know
is.
that, I guarantee you that you gave her the great ability to be discerning and make great decisions for herself and to keep herself safe. So, where's she going to school?
She's actually going to be local. She was going to go to UT Knox, but she decided on TSU and she had full rides at both places. So,
Wow.
I mean, that was a great thing
That's
just to go for
incredible.
free. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
she wants to be a nurse. So,
Okay.
her journey is beginning.
That is amazing. Jen on our team, her daughter is finishing nursing school too. So just finishing up nursing school. So that's really exciting. That's super fun. I love that. And I know you're super proud. So
I
um,
am. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm definitely thinking about your mama's heart, regardless if she's local or not. She's just in a new chapter of her life, and that part is hard. So, um, well, who else has got anything great to share from this weekend before we get started here? Bobby, did you have a good weekend? I'm just coming back to you because I can see your face.
Car shopping sucks.
Yes, it does. You survived though. I see you're still in one piece, but
Didn't buy anything, but yeah, it was insane and
yeah.
a very long day, long weekend, and we're still getting calls. So anyway,
Oh, that's awesome. I know cars are just so much more expensive. That's the really hard part. And if you put an inquiry online, every car salesperson in Middle Tennessee is going to be calling you. So it's painstakingly difficult. I totally get that. But hang in there. Just be patient with yourself and just give it some time and don't overstretch yourself. You're going to be okay, but just be firm with them. I don't want to talk to you, but you got this, I promise. All right,
they were really actually nice.
that's good. That's good. But I'm in your same boat. I'm gonna be car shopping myself here in a couple of months. So I feel your pain. I'm not looking forward to it, but we're gonna get there all in one piece, I promise. All right. This week's session, unless anybody else has anything to say or share, Cindy or Aaron, do you guys want to pop in with Anything great from over the weekend you want to share before I get started?
Nope, just
Yeah,
hanging in.
I did an open house this yesterday. It was a great open house. It was for one of Laura's listings here in Spring Hill, and I had 7 couples come through. Another agent came and did a video for her clients that were out of town, and then another agent came through with her parents who were taking measurements. So hopefully Laura gets some good offers today on the property.
I'm expecting at least 2, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm hoping that at least 2, but I'm glad you had such great attendance. I had an open house as well. I think I had about 12 people total come through, but no threats of any offers on that one yet, but it's still busy weekend, and we've still got some showings set up for the one in Spring Hill as well. So we'll see how that works. Aaron, I saw you piped in at the same time as Cindy, but I hope you had a great weekend too, and maybe you got some rest on top of that. Let's hope. But all right, I'm gonna jump in. Go ahead, Aaron, unless you were gonna say something.
Nope, I'm all good.
Okay, cool. Thanks for being here. Hi, Mary Brown. Good to see you this morning. Mary just had a huge celebratory weekend. You missed Mary. Candace was talking about taking her daughter to, she's moving into the dorms in college. And so your kids are in that same kind of like, at least phase in their life too, where they're finishing school and, you know, it's a little different. But Mary had a huge celebratory like barbecue this weekend where she invited, you know, everybody to celebrate all of her kids and birthdays and all the things. They were celebrating like 4 things, I think, and all the graduations. And she also invited some key clients to that barbecue as well that have turned into friends. So she was busy preparing for that, but it looked like you had a great time. It looked like it was a good turnout, Mary. I hope it was, and that you had a great time. Unmute yourself. I guess it was good. Okay, good. All right. Moving on. This week is on confidence and competency, or competency and confidence. I did put a link in the chat for the handout. If you want to scroll up a little bit to grab that, you guys can grab that. I'm going to share my screen here and get us back to so that you can see it and not my face. Let's see. So first thing I can tell you about confidence is I can't really teach confidence that well. I can teach you some strategies on how to build your confidence. I can teach you how to be more confident. But you either are confident or you're not, right? Like you either really like yourself and understand yourself and have a good knowledge of yourself and your strengths that you bring to the table, or you don't. And some of my advice to you today is really going to be, do you know your value in real estate? Do you know your value, period, beyond just real estate? Remember, I try to tell you guys all the time that you are the community connectors. That is your responsibility, and your duty as a realtor is your job is not just to sell houses. It is to connect the community, to provide resources for home buyers and home sellers, to give them contacts that they need to be able to do the things that they want to do, people that you've vetted, people that you have a great relationship with, people that you know have value for your clients. So do you even know your own value is the first question I will ask you, because confidence is going to come from you understanding that you are not a salesperson. If you approach real estate as though you are in sales, you are going to constantly be thinking that you're bothering people when you call them, that there's an agenda for your phone call that feels icky. You are going to feel like, you know, I don't want to call them because I'm worried or concerned that it's going to come off as salesy. When you know what value you bring to the table, that you are a connector, that you have something of importance that they need and want, instead of looking at yourself as a salesperson, those calls no longer become salesy. They no longer become icky. They no longer become used car salesman-ish, right? So when you understand, hey, they are better off with my services than without them. That's something we know, right? But some of you don't believe that. And that's part of the problem, is that if you believe that to be true, You would worry less about calling people or bothering people or doing some of the things that you need to do every day to build your business. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you know your value? And if you don't know, I would tell you to pull out a notebook and ask yourself, write out a journal. What do I bring to the table? What is my skill set? Am I a great communicator? Am I a great negotiator? Am I a great connector? Am I really good at introducing people to each other? That has value in this business. That has value in this industry. But I need you to ask yourself, what is it that I bring to the table that is either unlike anyone else or is unique to me? That may have nothing to do with real estate. And it probably doesn't have anything to do with real estate. But what is it that makes me unique? What makes me this special sauce, right? Do you recognize that your services are needed and helpful? If I were to ask you, hey, is your client better off with you or without you? Duh, the answer is with you, right? Yeah, I helped make this transaction, this process a lot smoother. I've been doing it for 25 years. I know the pitfalls that are going to happen. I already have a plan in place. I'm proactive with my behaviors and my activities to make sure that we don't have as many dips and ups and downs, that it goes smooth sailing the whole way, right? So, do you recognize that with your help, your client is better prepared? With your assistance, they are less likely opening themselves up to lawsuits, less likely to leave money on the table, less likely to get beat up by a buyer that's a bully because of your negotiation skills. So if you can't think of why you're needed, start thinking about the problems that come up in real estate first and how you would address them or how you would solve them. Because then you're going to find why you're needed, why you are helpful. But I shouldn't have to tell you that. You should already know that. But a lot of you don't know that because you haven't done that kind of work in analyzing your position or analyzing your job. You got into real estate because it was flexible, it was fun, you make a lot of money, you like looking at houses, you just fell into it, whatever the reason is, but you haven't really analyzed what your skill set is in terms of real estate. And are you really good at this? Like, are you better at this than other people? And the likelihood is yes, you are, but you need to have an understanding that your clients need you and what you bring to the table is helpful to them and in what ways. That will help you be more confident in your daily practice of real estate because you know what you bring to the table. I want you to think about when you're in a relationship. I always relate things to a relationship. I guess I dated a lot and I didn't realize it. But if you're in a relationship and you've got a partner that really compliments you all the time, builds you up, lifts you up, don't you enter the world a little bit more confident because you start to believe the things that they say to you? You start to believe the things that you feel about yourself are validated by somebody else when they tell you you're great, I'm proud of you, they compliment you, you start to believe it, right? Versus the adverse of that is that if you've ever dated a damn narcissist, which I could write a book on and teach a class on, when they start to tear you down, you start to believe that, right? Whatever they tell you to tear you down, you start to believe it. And what I'm trying to tell you is that your confidence totally comes from within. You cannot rely on anybody else in this business to build you up but yourself. I'm here to be your cheerleader. I always will be, right? But if you have to get up every day and you need that extra, hey, why am I doing this today? Pull out this notebook where you have said, what's my value? What do I bring to the table? What am I good at? And read that to yourself every day if you have to kick yourself in the butt to really face the day. But your confidence is going to come from you understanding you are not a used car salesperson who also happens to sell houses. You bring something to this industry and to this table that is needed and helpful, period. Okay. What are you good at? What is your skill set? Cindy is a badass on details. Cindy is a badass on following up. Bonnie is a badass at talking to people. Bonnie is a badass at doing her research, right? And I'm sure I could go on and on down the list of each one of your strengths. Candace is very global thinking. She thinks of the big picture, right? And that's her training from previous job, I think. And she's very calm and level-headed. You'll never see her sweat, although on the inside she's dying, right? But I just don't think that's how she presents herself, right? Mary brings so much experience to the table, but she's warm and inviting. And people just naturally come to her because they trust her naturally. But you each, Erin is a connector too. Like I have to come up with something for everybody because I can't leave anybody out. And you all have skills and talents that I think need to be addressed. But Erin is a connector and is warm and friendly and inviting. All of you have these skills that you're good at certain things and you know your strengths and weaknesses, right? If I were to do a chart for myself, what am I good at? What do I need to work on? I promise you, we all can come up with a long list of things that we need to work on because we're our worst critics. We are hard on ourselves. We know what our weaknesses are. But have you really stopped and looked and said, what are my strengths? What am I good at? No, because you like to beat yourself up. Confidence doesn't come from beating yourself up. Confidence comes from lifting yourself up. Confidence comes from knowing that you have a special skill that someone needs and someone finds helpful and valuable, even if you can't see it for yourself. Confidence comes from telling yourself over and over and over again, I can do this. I have got this. I am capable of this, regardless of what the world tells you, regardless of the comparison game you play with every other agent in the industry, right? Because you look at everybody else and you're like, why are they closing all these deals and I'm not? And then you start to pick on yourself. That's not going to get you more confident. That's not going to help you win more deals. When I show up to a listing appointment, and Candace and Sydney can attest to this because they've both been on one with me, I think that that client knows I confidently believe I can sell their house. I confidently believe I'm the best person to market and sell their house. And I don't walk in with a, I might be able to sell it. I walk in with, I am the best person to market and sell your house. And I truly believe that to be true. I don't think I'm the best realtor in the world. I don't think I'm the best realtor out of all the people they're going to interview, but I know my strengths. I know my skill set. I know what I'm capable of, right? Whether you've sold one house or 1,000 houses, you too have strengths that you need to focus on. And you need to remind yourself what those strengths are. And you need to carry yourself into a room with the confidence of a 5-year-old boy in a Spider-Man costume. Have you ever seen a 5-year-old boy in a Spider-Man costume? Does he act like he's a wimp? Does he act like he's about to get killed? Does he act like he can't shoot any more webs or climb the building? No, he can do anything, right? That's the kind of confidence we need. And when you exude that kind of confidence to your clients or potential clients, they trust you faster. They believe that you know you can do it. You know your strengths and your weaknesses. So make your list. What are you good at? What skills do you have that maybe other agents don't? Maybe for you, if you're newer in the business, that skill set is something that has nothing to do with real estate. For example, Candace comes from a long line of social work. I can think of 1,000 skills that Candace can apply in her experience as a social worker to real estate, right? You have to have the patience of Job in real estate, right? Do you think a social worker probably has that? 100%. They had to, right? They're empathetic, they're kind, they're caring. Is that needed in real estate? 100%, right? So what skills do you have that that client needs? And not all of your skill sets are going to be the same. Not all of your skills are real estate related. So your confidence is going to come from you knowing yourself really well, knowing what you're good at, knowing what you bring to the table, and knowing that you are capable of doing what you are promising these clients that you can do. The other part is you have to understand, why does someone need your help? This is why I said, if you're not sure what your strengths are, start with the problems. Start with the issues that come up in real estate. What could go wrong If a seller were to try to sell their house by themselves, make a list. If you need help with that list, I'll tell you. They underprice their house, they overprice their house. They have strangers walking through their house that are unqualified. They don't understand the contract, so they don't know what they're agreeing to. They don't have anyone advocating on their behalf, right? Think of all the things that could go wrong. They agree to repairs that are unnecessary. They do repairs to their house that are unnecessary, that they won't get the money back for before they put it on the market, that maybe aren't needed. They over improve their house and expect to get the money back dollar for dollar. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, right? The buyer's not qualified and the financing falls through and now they have to put their house back on the market, right? Like there's a lot of things that could happen, but I want you to think about if you're struggling with what are my strengths, think of all the problems that exist in a real estate transaction or could happen, and then have a solution for them. Those are your strengths, right? How you would solve those problems are part of your strengths. You have to dig a little deeper to get to them, okay? So why does someone need your help should help you identify why someone needs me, right? This is what I bring to the table. These are the things that I can help you sidestep. These are the things that I proactively have a plan in place to keep from happening to you. When you present to somebody a problem that is likely to happen in your industry and you already have a solution for it, it exudes confidence and competency. It means you're already prepared to solve the problem that I am going to make sure doesn't happen. But if it does happen, rest assured, I already have a solution in place for it. Does that make sense? Addressing the problems that you know could happen and having a solution on the front end is going to help position you ahead of other agents in the field. Position you because you already have a solution. Position you because you are proactively identifying what could go wrong and recognizing that you already have something in place to help sidestep that, to avoid it from happening altogether. The other part about confidence is that you must be positive and hopeful. You cannot be pessimistic and negative and exude confidence at the same time. Think about that. Can you be confident and negative at the same time? Highly unlikely. So you must have a positive outlook. You must exude positivity. You must exude hopefulness and positivity in order to convey confidence, right? If you are self-loathing, if you say bad shit about yourself, you talk to yourself like you're criticizing yourself all the time, you start to absorb that. You start to believe that to be true, right? Your body and your mind has to fight twice as hard to say that's not true. These are lies I'm telling myself. I'm not good at this. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can say the words like Laura does ever. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if I'm ever going to sell $20 million worth of real estate, whatever it is that you're telling yourself, right? There's enough garbage to fight against in this industry that you shouldn't be fighting yourself on top of everything else. That's a battle you don't need, okay? That's a battle that's unnecessary. The other part about confidence is, have you demonstrated, hi Dora, have you demonstrated that you are trustworthy, that your clients can trust you? Is that evident in your conversation with them? Have you given them any reason to trust you, right? Have you shown them that they can trust you? Have you put their interest above your own? Sometimes when we go to a listing appointment, we're so focused on defending our commission, our compensation, that we're putting someone else's interests below ours because all we're worried about is our money. But you have to listen and ask enough questions. How important is this commission? What role does it play in the whole transaction? I fight for my money, trust me. And I explain it in a way that they're not going to beat me up on the compensation all the time. But if you are so quick to say, yeah, I'll do it for 4%, like, I'm just speaking in generalities, but if you say, yeah, I'll do it for 4%, like, you didn't really convey confidence in yourself that you're worth the fee that you normally charge, right? You didn't fight for it. Did you demonstrate competence? And we're going to get into the competence in a second, how you can demonstrate that even if you don't have a lot of experience. But have you shown the person that you know what you're talking about, that you are the right person for the job? Have you demonstrated to them that you're more knowledgeable about the market than probably 5 other people that they bring in the door? We're going to talk about a way you can do that very quickly. Have you demonstrated loyalty to them, meaning you're willing to go above and beyond? So I have a client right now that, when I gave them my white picket fence list of what needed to be done in order to get the house on the market, they heard me, but maybe their definition wasn't the same definition as mine. And the house is not as clean as I would like for it to be. As a matter of fact, it's filthy. And I may have to pay for a deep cleaner to go clean it myself because she's not understanding my definition of a deep clean. And while she says it's clean, it absolutely is not clean. The baseboards are disgusting. The doors are disgusting. The toe kick under the cabinets are disgusting. The windowsills are disgusting. Like, it's not clean. And if you want height of the market, you want top dollar, it needs to be clean. And so sometimes we have to go above and beyond what our responsibilities are in order to get the results that we want. Now, I don't have to pay for a deep clean. I could leave it the filthy mess that it is, but I know it's going to affect the sale. And if we're not jiving, if she's not understanding what my definition of clean is and is not willing to do what that is, she told me, I'll just do it at move out. We'll just do a deep clean when we move out. Well, at that point, it's too late because people are walking through the house going, this house is gross. It's dirty. 4 people at the open house yesterday told me it needed to be cleaned, deep cleaned, right? So sometimes you have to go above and beyond. Sometimes I have to take my leaf blower and my broom, and sometimes I have to take a screwdriver, and sometimes I have to take some magic erasers, and sometimes I have to take some candles or whatever it is. But I take big white fluffy towels. I take fresh flowers. I take all kinds of things to make my listings look better. And that's not my responsibility. That's part of my work ethic and how I choose to present my listings to the market, right? It's not acceptable to me to have a filthy house on the market because that's a representation of me and my business. I want my listings prepared for the market. And if my seller's not willing to do some things, I get to make a decision and choose, do I want to spend the money to do that, right? Is this something that's needed? But loyalty comes from putting their interest above yours. Have you demonstrated that you're going to be loyal to them and their interests, right? On the listing side, that's very easy to convey. You explain to them that I represent you first. If an unrepresented buyer comes through here, my loyalty is to you first. You're the one that hired me. That is an immediate way to let them know you care more about the commission you're trying to collect. You care more about them than you do the money, right? It's about who do you represent. And that's how you can easily tell them, I have your best interest at heart first over anyone else that walks through this door, right? The last part is that, have you demonstrated that you have a coveted skill or a result that they want? Every seller wants what result? They want to sell for top dollar with the least amount of inconvenience, right? Right. So do you have a skill set that produces that result? Do you have a detailed marketing plan that you know works? Do you have a plan that's very specific to this house? If it was on 15 acres, it would be in every equestrian magazine, every horse place, every barn across Middle Tennessee. It would be among the horse riding community or any other mini farm thing or whatever. But if it's a specific property that I can identify who the buyer is, do I have a plan to reach those people? That's a coveted skill, right? That's a very specific thing. Every agent that comes in to interview for that listing is not going to highlight the coveted skill that is wanted. The other part of when I say coveted skills, some other examples might be the number one complaint. I'm going to ask you guys just to make sure you're still awake with me. What do you guys think is the number one complaint that sellers have when selling their house? If you've been on a listing appointment with me before, you definitely know that. If not, I'm going to give you a second to think about it. What do you think the number one complaint is from sellers? You have to unmute yourself and tell me. Get it, Mary.
Lack of communication.
Yes, Mary Brown, ding, ding, ding for the winner.
Yay!
Lack of communication is the number one complaint all sellers have, is that they don't know what the agent is doing to market their house. They don't know what people thought of the house when they came by for a showing. And so you want to address right on the front end that your seller doesn't have to worry about that issue. You have a plan in place that you do a weekly marketing update with that seller so that they know what you've done to market the house. They know the feedback of any showings that have come through, and that you are over communicating with them everything they need to know every step of the way, right? So when I am thinking about how do I make my seller feel confident in my abilities? Now, I have to have confidence on my own. That's one whole side of it. But you are also trying to exude confidence and trying to make sure that your client is confident that they're hiring the right person. And the way that you do that is by highlighting your coveted skills or the pathway to the result that they want. The pathway to the result they want is that detailed marketing plan, the above and beyond things that you're willing to do, the networking that you're going to provide to allow the maximum eyeballs on their house. What coveted skill do you bring to the table? For someone like Erin, the coveted skill might be really trying to identify the best loan program for you based on listening to your goals, right? Her coveted skill might be, getting the loan through underwriting without a bunch of hiccups and a bunch of conditions because she does her work on the front end. I'm just thinking of an example for you, Erin, just to make it relatable. But all of you have a coveted skill, and all of you have the desired results that the seller has. You have a pathway to that. Have you outlined what that is? Have you thought about what that is, right? Everybody understand, do you have a better understanding then about how to work on your confidence based on what we just talked about? I need to understand myself. I need to know myself very well. I also need to talk positively to myself. If you are the person that looks in the mirror and says 5 hateful things to yourself every morning, because that's what you've been doing for a lifetime. Oh my God, I'm so fat. Oh my God, my eyes are puffy. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. That is not helping you build confidence, right? That's the ugly side of you talking to the vulnerable side of you. And that's the part your brain's going to hold on to, the negative shit you tell yourself. So stop talking to yourself like that. My therapist used to say, why are you such an asshole to yourself? The reality is that there's a lot of assholes out there. You don't need to be an asshole to yourself. There's plenty of people that'll do it for you, right? You've got to protect yourself. You've got to protect your energy. You've got to protect your confidence. You've got to protect yourself and your well-being. And you do not do that by talking nasty to yourself and being ugly to yourself. You do that by building yourself up, right? That's not arrogance. That is working on my confidence and my self-love. Do I like myself, right? Some of you love yourself, but you don't like yourself, right? That's an area you need to work on, because confidence comes from knowing your skills and abilities, knowing what you bring to the table, and believing it to be true. What I have is what you need. What I have is something that's going to help you. Okay? Any questions about confidence before I move on? You all know you can read affirmations every day to help you. If you are a negative self-talker, you got to flip the script. You got to find positive things to say to yourself. Even if you can only think of 3 things a day to say to yourself, try it. It will change everything about the way you feel about yourself when you start talking to yourself kindly. And when you catch yourself, if you are a negative self-talker, when you catch yourself talking to yourself like that, then you should punish yourself by saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to think of 3 things that I like about myself. Every time you say something negative, 3 things positive have to come out of your mouth to yourself, right? But you need to work on that part, loving yourself. Let's talk about competency. When you don't have a lot of experience, when you're new to the business, competency can be a little hard, right? Because you're not sure, you don't feel confident yet in what you know because you're newer, right? Or things are changing, you're coming from a different state, the states are all different, it's a lot to learn. Trust me, going from Virginia to South Carolina, North Carolina to Tennessee, I had to learn all 4 of these states' laws and how things are done differently in each state. That learning curve is steep, right? Who pays title? How do y'all do this? Do you have to order this? A survey is not required. Is it a title state or attorney? There's a lot to know, right? So that curve is steep, and your confidence, it kind of wanes a little bit because you don't feel competent yet in knowing everything you're supposed to know. It's the same thing with newer agents. The competence, is slow to come because you're learning things out of context. You're drinking from a fire hose, and until you're actually doing it, it's not applicable. It's out of context. You don't understand how all the pieces fit together until you're actually in the middle of a deal, right? Or 5 deals. It takes you 7 to 10 deals to feel good, to have a good understanding of how to do this. Well, those 7 to 10 people deserve your very best, right? So one of the ways that you can work on improving your competency is there are some key things that I think you should be very educated on, and you should know, okay? You should know all of your contracts. You should know what they say. You should know how to summarize every paragraph of the top 3 documents. One is the purchase and sale agreement, one is the buyer's rep, and one is the listing agreement. You should know every single paragraph and how to explain those paragraphs to your clients. You should know how to summarize any of those disclosures and what they mean, why they're signing. If your office charges an admin fee, you should have an explanation prepared when someone asks you, why do I have to pay this? What is this? Right? And if you need help with that, let me know and I'll script it for you. Right? Because I've been getting clients to pay admin fees for years and years and years and years and years without any question or hesitation. But it's all in the presentation, how you present it to people. If you are afraid of it because you don't like it, you feel like you're not comfortable asking them to pay a measly little $160 fee or whatever it is, then it comes across when you're explaining it to them. Then they're not confident in why they have to pay it, right? But I digress. You need to know your contracts very well. You need to know them front and back. When they make changes to the forms, you need to know what those changes are and stay abreast of those. Okay, that's easy. You guys can knock those out of the park. You should be familiar with scripts enough to know what to say when. What do I say when someone does come through my open house? What kind of scripts do I use to convert them to clients? What do I say when I call it for sale by owner? What do I say when I'm meeting with a seller and they're interviewing 7 agents? What do I say when I'm meeting with a seller and they're unreasonable about the price or my fee? Or they want, they think that their house is going to sell in 5 minutes, but it's filthy. What scripts do you have in your back pocket that help you? Because scripts will make you appear more confident and more competent. Yes? So you should have some understanding of the scripts that you need to be able to do your business. Scripts should not be making you sound like a robot. They should give you the language where you don't have any. We've already talked about them, so I'm not going to go into them in depth, but you should feel comfortable with how they flow out of your mouth, and then you will make them your own, right? You will make them your own. That's your own personality that inserts language or the way that you speak, but you're going to start with a framework, which is addressing the things, the pain points that you need to convert each client, right? Statistics. I don't expect you to be a statistician. I don't expect you to know everything there is to know that comes up on all those market reports, but I do have some that you should always have in your back pocket. Okay, these are going to be helpful when you go on listing appointments. They're going to be helpful for you when you do your buyer consultation appointments. They're going to be helpful for you when you're networking with people, when they ask you how the market is. They're going to be helpful for you when you are promoting your business. These are the basic statistics that I think you all should have a command of in the area that you specialize in. You don't have to know this for every city. Like for a lot of you that are in Middle Tennessee, you don't have to know the price per square foot in each city. But if you're going for a listing, you need to know what the average price per square foot is in that zip code, in that county, in that city, in that neighborhood, right? But you don't have to know all of them. But if I specialize in Goodlettsville, you better believe I'm going to know everything there is to know about the data in Goodlettsville, right? And anybody who's been on a listing appointment with me knows when a seller asks me about the market, I can rattle off exactly how many months inventory we have, what the average price per square foot is in the last 3 months, and I can also tell them the average days on the market. Those three things I know without a doubt. When I go to a listing appointment, if I know those three facts, I can talk to them about anything. I'm not scared. Okay. You should know what the list price to sales price ratio is. So how do you find out the list price to sales price ratio? Mary, in your MLS, it probably tells you automatically, but we have to run a special report here in our MLS. I'm not sure about yours.
Yeah, it comes up when you click the sold data. It provides it like 116% over asking price,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Perfect. So we have to actually print a separate report called a statistics report where it will actually calculate. But I'm also old school. I've been doing this since Moby Dick was a minnow, and the MLSs that I used to use didn't have those reports already calculated. So I had to use old school math, and I had to actually calculate for myself, dividing the list price per the sales price and coming up with the percentage. And then I had to take an average of all of those. But you don't have to do that because now we live in 2023. And not in 1999. And you can actually go to the statistics page and it will tell you the list price to sales price ratio. But this data by itself, this one fact, this one statistic will actually tell your seller what to expect. You're setting expectations for your seller. Hey, in your market, in your neighborhood, in your zip code, in this county, sellers in the last 3 months have been getting 99 or 98% of list price. They've also been paying on average $5,000 worth of closing costs. That's not on your list, but is that a helpful statistic to know if you're going to a listing appointment? 100%. Are the sellers paying any concessions? What do those concessions look like on average in that area, right? Because I could have a house in Middle Tennessee that's in one area of town where there are no concessions being paid, and I could have another house in the same price where those sellers are paying 10 grand. Right? It all is very dependent on the area that you're in and how desirable that house is, right? But these statistics are going to be very helpful to you to always have in your back pocket because these are talking points. These points right here, I want you to think about the average consumer, the buyer or the seller. Do they know these facts, this data off the top of their head? Do all agents know this data off the top of their head? The answer is no. Right? So when you come into an appointment and you have this data already known, you know it, and you can talk freely about it, you are already exuding competence and showing them that you know what you're doing. You're a professional. This is your business to know. This is not a hobby. This is not what we do for fun on the side. This is our job, our career. Our business is to know what the average price per square foot is. How many days on the market is the average in this area? How many months supply do we have? What are sellers getting as a percentage of their list price? Are they making any concessions? Are sales up or down? This time last year, what does that look like? Across the board, we're down from this time last year because they were giving out free money last year, right? In some areas, we might be down as much as 17 or 20 some percent. In other areas, we might only be down 11%. But that is a fact that if you were to talk about, you're already going to exude confidence from that seller in you that you know what you're talking about. You didn't just get a license yesterday. You don't work at FBN Realty, which is fly-by-night realty, right? You actually have a career, and this is your business to know it. The other part of what are the current interest rates? I don't need to know the interest rates every hour. I don't need to text Aaron Milstead every hour and say, yo, what are the rates this hour? But do I have an idea of what rates are looking like? Because that's a common question you're going to get asked by both buyers and sellers. What are the rates today? If you don't know, check in with your favorite lender once a week. Hey, what are rates looking like today? So that you know, right? That's very helpful information. The next thing that's going to help you be more competent and help you look more competent, like you know what you're doing, have answers for commonly asked questions prepared. What are the most, make yourself a list of FAQs. What are the most frequently asked questions that you come up with, that you hear in your business? And have answers for those already ready. You could do a series of 10 frequently asked questions. That's 10 days worth of content to promote your business if you wanted? What are 10 questions that a buyer might ask you or a seller might ask you right now about the market, right? Right now about selling their house. Have answers for those prepared. When you have answers prepared for commonly asked questions, you are not hemming and hawing. You're not, oh, let me get back to you, right? Oh, I'm not aware. I don't know. I'll find out. That's not as much confidence, and feeling like you know what you're doing as the person who comes in and says, I know the answer to that, right? Oh, I just talked to somebody about that last week. Have that prepared. Do you understand the process, start to finish, of buying a house or selling a house? Those of you with experience, of course you do. Those of you that are newer to the business, this is a fast way for you to work on your competencies and working on, do you know what you're doing? Is, do you understand the process from start to finish and your steps along the way? What is your responsibility in each step? Do you know which forms to use when? This is a no-brainer. If you do not know the difference between an addendum and an amendment, you are not competent to sell real estate. Laugh at me all you want to, but I'm for real. When you write an addendum, you are adding something to the contract. An amendment is amending, i.e. changing something in the contract. Know the difference, right? But if you don't know which forms to use when, and you try to send me, the listing agent, an amendment for something you're adding, I'm going to laugh at you. And now I know you don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You also need to make sure you understand which forms to use when, right? You also need to work on your competency by taking continuing education that you think helps your clients. What classes can you take that will make you a better agent? Don't just go to classes to get the CE credit because you have to renew your license. What classes can you take that are going to make you a better agent? Make you a better service to your sellers? Is that a staging class? Is that, a divorce class? Is that a title class? Is that whatever that is? But what classes can you take that are going to make you better, that are going to make you more knowledgeable, that are going to help you better serve your clients? Okay. And then designations is the last one. I don't collect alphabets after my name. Bye, Mary Brown. I don't collect, or are you trying to get my attention? I wasn't sure if you were saying bye or if you were trying to get my attention. Okay. Designations as well. Like, the designations are not there. The general public doesn't know what these designations mean. They don't care that you're an ABR, CRS, GRI, LBT. Like, they don't give a crap what you are. They don't know what any of these designations mean. So you get the designations because it makes you a better agent. You don't get the designations because you think, oh, if I'm a senior relocation specialist or if I'm a senior specialist, that means that I'm going to get more clients that are trying to downsize or move into a retirement home. They don't know what any of those designations mean, but the designations allow you to strengthen your offering. They allow you to specialize in something that you might need in your business that's going to make you a better agent. But unless you're going to do the work to educate people about what that designation means and how it helps them, don't bother doing it. But if I go out and I go get a designation that says I am a certified staging specialist, then I'm going to educate the people about why being a staging specialist is an added benefit for anyone who hires me. Because staged homes sell for more money in less time, and usually, right, that it's in less time. So I mean, I'm going to tell every client, potential client, what the benefits of having this staging certification is. I was one of the first agents that actually got a seller representation designation back before it was ever a national association designation. It was just a small group that was trying to get approved as a national designation. And so, of course, that when I went for a listing appointment, that's how I stood out from other agents, because I could say, I'm actually one of only 400 in the country that are specially trained to work with sellers. Not all agents are, right? I want to remind people that in the general public doesn't know what any of those letters mean, but the designations will help you be a better agent. They will help you be more confident. They will help you be more competent, right? But these two things I want you to understand go hand in hand, right? The more you understand your responsibility in the transaction, you know your forms, you know what to use when, you understand the process, you know how to negotiate, you know each step of the way, what problems could happen, and you have a plan for each one, you feel good about yourself. You know what to do, right? You are going to be more confident when you know these things, right? When you show up to a listing appointment unprepared, you don't know the data, the statistics that they need to know, you're not going to come across as confident. Yeah, you can fake it till you make it, but I promise you they're going to see through it. It's not going to lead you like as if I put my best foot forward and they truly hired the best person for them, because you didn't give the best version of you for them to see that, right? Did you show up as the best version of you in this business, the most qualified, the most competent, and the most confident, right? You guys know me enough to know that you're not going to beat me on confidence, right? I'm not going to roll in pounding on my chest and being arrogant, but I'm going to exude that I know what I'm doing. You're going to know by talking to me that I feel very confident that I can help you. I feel very confident that I can sell your house, right? Cindy, did you hear the seller when we went to the listing appointment on Saturday? Did you hear that seller say, is this something you think you would want, right? A listing you would want, because he has an agent that he's worked with in the past that only sells really luxury high-end listings. And he had a little bit of shame attached to his house because he knows some things need to be done. And so in his mind, when he's interviewing us, he's not even sure if this is a listing we want, because we were so confident in our abilities and what we do that he was a little concerned that we might be a little above his house, right? So you have to listen to their body language, listen to the questions that they're asking, and then address, yes, absolutely, I'd be proud to help you sell this house, right? This is absolutely in my wheelhouse. It's in the price range that I specialize in, right? This is my bread and butter. This is what I do every day. We can get past some of these things that need to be done, right? But I cannot teach you how to be more confident. I can only impress upon you the importance of being confident. That when you go up against a listing agent like me, if you walk in with no confidence, you have no chance. Because I know what I bring to the table. And it's not just 25 years worth of experience. It's the know-how. It's the preparedness. It's the solution-driven person that I know I'm going to be able to take over anything that comes my way. I'm going to be able to handle it. I'm also going to guide you and make sure that you are going to sidestep some common problems, because I do have the experience, but I also have the knowledge, and I'm going to be putting your interests above mine. But I know what I'm good at. I also know what I suck at. And I'm not afraid to tell a seller, this is a part where I'm working on. This is a part that I'm not great at if I need to. If it's an area where I think that, this is really important to them, but I know it's my weakness, I would tell them honestly, you know what? I might not be the best person for you. If they want somebody who does a lot of videos, they want their video to go viral, blah, 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 and they make up songs and do stupid dances in the house, I'm not for them, right? That's my weakness. That's not me. I don't see it as a weakness, but that is a weakness if you want to compare it to others. But I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. My advice to you is you need to have the same list, right? I wish I had my notebook with me so I could show you, but I will tell you, when I first opened, well, I'll back up. I had some confidence issues when I moved to Tennessee about opening a second firm. I didn't feel the same way I did when I opened my first company. When I opened my first company, I was so energetic. There was nothing that could stop me. I didn't care about my competition. I rolled into town not knowing a single human, and I decided I was going to open my own brokerage, and there was nothing that was going to stop me. And that's the confidence of a 5-year-old boy in a Spider-Man costume, right? Like there was nothing, I wasn't worried about anything. But when I moved to Tennessee, the market was very different. The competition was a lot stiffer. They did things a lot differently here that I didn't feel like I measured up to, believe it or not, right? because people see me now, they're like, you didn't have confidence, but yeah, I didn't. I was, I was worried about, could I compete in this market the way that I had before? Because people here, it was easy in South Carolina because those people, they were always on their boat. They were always on a ball field. Nobody ever answered their phone. They showed up for a showing in Bermuda shirts and a Hawaiian t-shirt. And I mean, it was easy to be a cut above in South Carolina because I came from Virginia where everything was business and I rolled in business and it was easy for me to stand out. But when I moved to Tennessee, everybody was already really professional and they were already doing things differently than I was. And I felt like I didn't measure up. So what I did, I felt it inside. I knew I was struggling in an area that I needed to fix. And so I made a list of how I felt when I opened my first firm. And I still have this list in a notebook today that I keep close by as a reminder. But it basically had adjectives like energetic, unstoppable, confident, right? Excited. It had all these words and adjectives that I feel like I need to have every day to do this business. It's not just how I felt when I was opening my firm. And you guys, I refer back to that list anytime I'm feeling down about myself or down about my business. Because the reality is that all those things I felt when I opened my first firm are the exact same way I feel every day when I feel good about myself. When I feel confident about what I bring to the table, I feel all those things. But all the negativity that I let come in makes me question, can I do this? Is this for me? Like, should I do something else? Like, I have lots of skills and talents. I always think about doing something else. But y'all, this is in my blood. I can't help it. I can't help it. As much as I try to get away from it, it just sucks me back in. And the reality is that each and every one of you has your own list like this that is truly, what am I great at? What do I bring to the table? What do I do that helps people, grab onto those feelings? Think about those transactions where that client really needed you. That client was so grateful for what you did. And when you need something to help you boost your confidence on a day where you're feeling lower, pull that list back out and refer to that list when you're feeling low. Remind yourself, you know what? That's a lie I'm telling myself because I am energetic. I'm excited. I'm positive. I am unstoppable, right? But the only thing that changes those words is me, my own thoughts about it, how I'm feeling in the moment. But sometimes rereading that list for me snaps me right out of it and says, you know what? Stop listening to the lies and the bullshit you're telling yourself because none of that's true. None of that's true, right? So I want you to work on your own confidence list. What do I bring to the table? What am I great at? What am I good at? Why does someone need me, right? How did I feel when I was at the height of my game or when I was the most proud of myself? What are some adjectives to describe yourself when you ask yourself that? When I am most proud of myself, what are some of the ways I feel about myself? And hang on to that. Put it somewhere visible. Read it daily if you need to. Put it on Post-it notes on your mirror. I don't care. But you're not going to be an asshole to yourself. There's enough people to be a jerk to you. Okay? The other part is work on your competency. In what way can I sharpen my skills? What way can I sharpen the knife to be a better agent? Do I need to brush up on some of the statistics that I know people are going to ask me? Do I need to arm myself with those statistics to appear more confident, to appear as though I have more experience, or to appear that I know what's happening in the market around me? That will demonstrate confidence in you by other people, right? That means that your clients or these potential clients will say, you are prepared for this assignment. You are the one that I want for this assignment. You are the one that I need for this assignment to get the results that I want, right? Or to utilize the coveted skill that only you have. The special sauce and the Kool-Aid that's in you is what you bring to the table. You are the Kool-Aid. You're the special sauce. Okay? What is that special sauce that you bring to the table that nobody else has? And if you don't know it, by God, no one else does. No one else is gonna know it until you are confident that that you know yourself enough to say, this is me, And if you need to listen to that song, just because I ended there, if you need to listen to that song on repeat every day, then do it. It comes from The Greatest Showman. This is me. I know you've heard it 1,000 times. Play it. This is me. This is what you get. I am not like everyone else. I am not for everyone, and that's okay, right? But I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I do is important and needed. I am not a salesperson. I'm a consultant that guides them through the process, right? I am the glue that holds this whole process together. I'm the catalyst that brings the buyer to the table, that helps you get to the closing table. Any questions or comments for me today? Does that feel good? Does that make you feel a little bit better about working on your confidence and competence? All right. Next week, I gotta go check my my list is usually hung up over on the other side of the room on what we have next week. So next week we have sponsorship with returns, which I'm excited about. This one is actually one where I'm going to show you how to actually look for sponsorship opportunities in your business that are actually going to convert clients. So you'll get asked to sponsor all kinds of things like, oh, will you sponsor the Little League team or my son's soccer team? Will you put a banner up? Do you want to advertise on the grocery carts? Do you want to be on the golf cards? Do you want to be in the monthly newsletter? You have sponsorship opportunities thrown at you all the time. I'm going to help you evaluate which ones are the most impactful, and then help you set up sponsorships in a way that you actually get an opportunity to gain contacts and turn them into clients. Okay. That's it. That's all I got for you today. Let me check the chat real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything. Thanks, Coach. Needed this one today. You're welcome. I'm glad that you could be here. And I truly and honestly believe every single one of you has something super special that makes you you, that makes you unlike everyone else. And if you guys would harness that and really know it and believe it, I promise you, you're going to walk into rooms where people look at you differently, where people look at you and say, I wish I had her confidence, right? But it all is work that you have to do on your own. It's not work anybody else can do for you. It's something that you truly have to say, I know what I'm great at. I know what I'm good at. I know what I bring to the table. And this is why you're talking to me. This is why you're going to hire me. This is why I'm the best person for the job, right? So you're very welcome. I'm glad that you guys made it. Go out there and kill it this week. Let me know if you need anything. Obviously, I'm here for you, at your disposal. I will see you at the same bat time, same bat channel next week, where we talk about sponsorship with returns. And I hope you guys go out there with the confidence of a 5-year-old in a Spider-Man costume. Okay, go get them. Y'all have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.